Hey everyone, here's a quick tutorial and overview of the business outcomes on the OKR dashboard from AgilityHealth. Before I walk you through the dashboard, I want to just give you a little bit of history of where this came from. So part of EBA is lean portfolio management, and lean portfolio management really focuses on outcome-based planning. So what I wanted to show you over here is part of outcome-based planning is really making sure that we're not just focusing on the work, which is the initiatives, the epics, and the features, and getting the work done, but we are actually focusing on the strategy and taking your 3-year outcomes and breaking them down into 1-year outcomes and then breaking those down into quarterly outcomes so that you can really facilitate quarterly planning from an LPM perspective at this level. And we do want to map a lot of our initiatives and our epics and our features back to actual outcomes so that teams know why they're doing what they're doing and what's the value that they're trying to accomplish, and shifting to what we call outcome-based planning. To do this, we've used this pattern, and it's a very physical room, which is the enterprise visibility room. And this visibility room has what we used to call the demand. And the demand is really what are the outcomes we're trying to accomplish. And then it had sort of the delivery teams or the capacity. And there'd be this beautiful conversation once a year and once a quarter from all the stakeholders and the leaders talking about what is our vision, what are we trying to accomplish. And a lot of the business leaders would start to read the outcome cards, and then the teams that the team leaders across the teams would raise their hand and say, I can own that. And some teams would also say, I can share that. So that would be a shared outcome that maybe 2 or 3 different teams, and this could be a team of team, it could even be a portfolio. It doesn't have to be down to a team level, depending on the level. So this kind of a very physical planning, very highly engaged planning, we've done this for many years, and so this is where this dashboard came from, because a lot of people said that we need the electronic version. So the outcomes dashboard is also organized in terms of what we call demand columns. So there's 3-year outcomes, 1-year outcomes, and quarterly outcomes. And then whatever area that you're at, so I'm under the global financial, and I have 2 different portfolios over here. I have HR payroll, and I have Wealth Nation. So those are 2 portfolios. This portfolio has multiple teams of teams underneath it, and underneath the teams of teams are actual teams. So some people call this a train, some people call this a product line, a portfolio, and then at the enterprise level. And you can have other layers as needed. But we wanted to show you here is that whatever level you click on, the children that are directly underneath that level is what show up over here in the delivery or the capacity columns. So again, if I went under HR and payroll, I will see over here the 3-year outcomes, 1-year outcomes, quarterly outcomes for this portfolio, and I'll see that these teams of teams are the ones that could own any of these outcomes or even share them. I could go down to Arrested Development, and this is an actual team of team. And so I'll see that they've got 1-year and quarterly, and then these actual agile teams are the ones that own specific outcomes at the quarterly level. So I think you get the general idea. So let's go back up over here. When I'm looking at the enterprise level, let's look at what an outcome card actually looks like. So it has what we call the OKR method. So here's the objective: ensure seamless customer success experience so that we can exceed expectations. So that's the exciting and moving objective. And then we use the hypothesis statement. And the hypothesis statement, we believe that by building a strong foundation for our customer success team, we will have sustainable and repeatable processes, which will help us reduce customer churn and increase customer satisfaction. So how will we measure our hypothesis? So hypothesis statement always has the we believe by doing XYZ for ABC persona, we will achieve XYZ outcome measured by the following metrics. And the metrics are increased customer retention. NPS score does not drop below 8. That's what we would call a balancing metric. And then increase single call resolution by 30%. So this is an example of an impact metric, which is why it's green. If I leave it as gray, it means it's a leading indicator. If I make it green, it means it's an impact metric. It's why we're investing in this outcome. NPS score does not drop below 8 is what we would call a balancing metric, which means it's a metric we want to do no harm. It's a guardrail that we're trying to set. And increase single call resolution by 30%. This could be a leading indicator for us. And so You can enter the metric over here. If the metric does not exist, so let's say I'm going to just change this one and just call it call resolution. And call resolution does not exist, so I'm going to create it. And I'm going to say it's a %, save. And so I basically just created a new metric that's a percentage. What you'll also see here is what are you starting with, what's your goal, and what's your current. And as part of the outcome in the OKR check-in process, so obviously you can set these quarterly outcomes every quarter, but we do want your teams every 2 weeks during their demos to have the product owner or the product manager do a quick outcome check-in, see if we want to update any of the current information before we do the output demo. So basically shifting our demos from just focusing on output to just checking in quickly on our outcomes. It takes less than 5 minutes, and so that's what we recommend to keep this current. It is, again, a lot of people ask, well, should we automate and get this data from somewhere? And we always clarify this is not about automation. It's really about the conversation and the learning from these metrics. The comment section over here is for your learning. So as you're going through this each quarter and throughout the year, what are you learning about your hypothesis? What are you learning about the key results? What would you like to retain? And then custom fields is just sometimes customers have an additional fields that they want, an investment code, sponsor name, things that they want to add to the outcome card. The other additional things you can do, so the only thing that's really important is really the objective, the hypothesis, the key result, but you can also tag. If this outcome is just an idea, if it's an opportunity assessment, if it's ready for discovery, if it's in delivery. So where is it in terms of the life cycle, the intake process? You can also tag it based on which line of business requested it, which time frame. So these are all editable, but these are just tags. And then very important is the color. The color of this outcome card helps you map it to where else does it align to. The colors are helpful because I might want to just focus on the orange and say, show me everything that's orange. Because I just want to look and see what are all the 1 year, the quarterly, and is there anybody else focusing on this orange outcome. So you can filter again by color. You can also filter by line of business. So you can say, show me all of the outcomes that are coming from the insurance. So that line of business, insurance, has really requested a lot of different things, so we want to make sure we're filtering by it, or show me what lending has sent to us. You could also say, show me all the outcomes that are just an idea stage or an opportunity assessment. So these tags are a way to filter. One of the helpful ways that we use the top filter is if you have, let's say, insurance is an enterprise line of business and some of the work that they need really crosses multiple portfolios, and they just want to have that end-to-end visibility in terms of all of their outcomes and how are they progressing across portfolios. You can also tag outcomes by initiative. So you can say these outcomes are part of a strategic initiative, and that strategic initiative is cross-cutting. It goes across multiple portfolios, and I do want to start tracking how we're progressing towards it. Another important note about an outcome card is it links to an output. So again, outcomes are outcomes, so they're really about key results, but we do want to link cards to output. And an output could be a Salesforce dashboard. And so I'm just going to put Google for right now and add it. There could be another dashboard. There could be an Epic. There could be a Epic that's sitting in Jira. And so I'm going to link to Jira over here. Again, I'm just going to put Google for purposes of the demonstration. But the idea here is anything that you are trying to link to so that people can quickly go to it, so they can drill deeper and kind of understand how is the work related to this outcome progressing. You can just create links from over here, and it could be a link to Trello, to a marketing dashboard, to a sales dashboard, or to an ALM platform. So that's the summary of the outcomes dashboard. There you can export everything to Excel, the data that's here. You can change the view. This view is what we call demand delivery view. So this is like that room that I showed you, the enterprise visibility room. But you could say, I just want to brainstorm outcomes and I want to look them by life cycle. So I just want to put some outcomes in idea stage. I want to put some in opportunity assessment, ready for discovery. This is helpful because it helps you separate out which outcomes are actually ready for delivery in the next quarter and which outcomes should still stay in discovery or even one level below for above in opportunity assessment. So it just kind of helps you organize your outcomes from an intake perspective before you actually bring them to the teams. You can look at outcomes by line of business. So you can say, show me all the outcomes that insurance has asked for, lending has asked for, banking or claims. And you can also look at your outcomes by time frame. So show me everything that's scheduled for Q1, Q2, Q3. All right, that was a very quick update on how to use the outcomes dashboard. Thank you so much.